Hi class, thanks for watching this Algebra 1 Chapter 1 study guide. All right, here we go. Let's begin. Negative 7 plus 18, right? Two different signs, so we know we subtract them. 18 minus 7, that gives us 11. Since 18 is the bigger number, that is our final answer, positive 11. Another way to think about this is 18 plus a negative 7. Or 18 minus 7, which is literally what we just did there. All right, negative 2 minus 11, two of the same signs, right? Both negatives. So we take the sum or we add them together. 2 plus 11 is equal to 13. Our final answer is negative, though, since both of these numbers are negatives. Negative 13. Final answer. All right, evaluate negative 14 minus negative 19. Well, remember, if we minus a negative, that's the same thing as adding that 19. So that's negative 14 plus 19. Negative 14 plus 19, opposite signs. We can rewrite this as 19 minus 14. 19 minus 14 is just 5. All right, evaluate negative 4 squared. Negative 4 squared, our base is negative 4. So that tells us we multiply negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4 multiplied by negative 4. That gives us positive 16. Remember, multiplication, negative times a negative is positive. All right, same thing with this, except we have an exponent of 3. All right, our base is negative 4. That exponent of 3 tells us we multiply each of those by itself 3 times. We multiply negative 4 by itself 3 times. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 64. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Positive 16 times negative 4 gives us negative 64. Final answer. All right. Question number 6. 8 divided by 0 can't divide by 0. That's just a math law. Can't divide by 0, so what happens? That's no solution. No solution. Evaluate 0 divided by 8. Well, 0 divided by any number, we can actually do that. That is going to be just 0. So once again, can't divide by 0. If 0 is in our numerator, that's just 0. All right, question number 8. Evaluate 2 over 15 multiplied by 5 divided by 32. With multiplying fractions, we just multiply straight across. All right, 15 multiplied by 32, I honestly can't even do that in my head. So I go ahead and tell myself, well, 2 and 32, let's see. 2 goes into 32 how many times? Once. So we change this to a 1. 2 goes into 32 16 times. And then we could do the same thing with 15 and 5. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. All right, so now we have 1/3 multiplied by 1/16. We just multiply straight across. That gives us 1 over 3 times 16 is 48. All right, question number 9. 3 over 16 divided by 12 divided by 7. Dividing by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Remember the reciprocal, we just switch the 27 and the 12. So let's write that out. 3 over 16. We switch it to multiplication, and then we switch it around. So 27 over 12. All right, and just like we did with number 8, we can sort of simplify this. 3 over 12, or 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 12 4 times. All right, so multiplying straight across, we get 1 times 27. That gives us 27. Our denominator, 16 times 4, that's 64. It looks like you can simplify this, but that is its simplest form, 27 over 64. All right, next page. We have 5 over 12 plus 2/3. A little bit more difficult adding fractions than multiplying. Multiplying, you just can go straight across. With adding fractions, you need the same denominator. So how do I make this 3 become a 12? Well, we can multiply by 4 over 4. Multiplying by 4 over 4. The reason I can do that is because, well, that's literally just the number 1. So if we multiply 2 by 4, that gives us 8. If we multiply 3 by 4, we get 12. So now we have a new equation. We have 5 over 12 plus 8 over 12. Right now we can add those fractions up, 13 over 12. Right, same denominator. And then 5 plus 8 gives us 13. Final answer. All right, question number 11, same thing. How can we make this be the same denominator? Well, we can multiply it by 3 over 3. All right, so 5 times 3 is 15. 15. 7 times 3 is 21. All right, so what does that equal? Well, our denominator is still going to be the same, 21. Let me just write this all over. 8 over 21 minus 15 over 21. Right, 8 minus 15, that gives us negative 7. Negative 7. All right, so that's not our final answer. We can simplify this, right? 7 goes into 21 how many times? 3 times. So our greatest common factor is 7. 7 goes into 21 3 times, as we just said. 7 goes into 7 once. Final answer, negative 1/3. All right, question number 12, simplify. So when we simplify, we are looking for a number. So using order of operations, right? GEM does. We do 3 plus 4 first. 3 plus 4 because that's in parentheses. 3 plus 4 is 7. Then we just write the rest of it. 7 minus 42 divided by 6 minus 20. All right, follow order of operations. So exponents next. 49 minus 42 divided by 6 minus 20. All right, so please don't make the mistake of subtracting this first. Order of operations, we do division first. 42 divided by 6 is 7. And then we bring everything else down. 49 minus 7 minus 20. And now we have just a subtraction problem. We go from left to right. 49 minus 7 gives us 42. 42 minus 20 gives us 22. Final answer. All right, question number 13. We look at this, we see that there is grouping, right? There's brackets, that's grouping. So we go ahead and do this first. And then now we look at all of this inside. All of this inside, we see that we have, once again, we have parentheses. So that's our grouping, right? So we need to do grouping first. So 2 plus 4 gives us 6. And then, once again, just do one step at a time. Bring the rest down. Bring everything else down. All right, and then we still need to finish this grouping, right? We're not done yet. This is all grouped together, so we have to do that first because that's what GEM does is. We have to do exponents first, right? Exponents before we subtract. So exponents, 6 squared gives us 36. And then we bring everything else down. 7 minus 36 minus 2 to the 4th. All right, 7 minus 36, that gives us negative 29. All right, now that this is fully simplified inside the bracket, we can move on to exponents. 2 to the fourth power is just 16. We have 16 minus a negative 29. All right, as you guys know, 16 minus a negative 29, that's the same thing as saying 16 plus 29, right? 16 plus 29. That gives us a final answer of 45. All right, question number 14. We have 5 squared plus 10 divided by 5 minus 2 minus 7. Same thing, right? Gem does. We start off with 2 minus 7. 2 minus 7 gives us negative 5. Keep it in parentheses. Bring everything else down. 5 squared plus 10 divided by 5 minus that negative 5. All right, next we have exponents. Exponents, 5 squared gives us 25. So bring everything else down. Next we have division, right? Division before multiplication and addition. 10 divided by 5 gives us 2. So that gives us 2. And then we bring the rest down. 25 plus 2 minus a negative 5. All right, so 25 plus 2 gives us 27 minus that negative 5. Remember, that's the same thing as adding the 5. So 27 plus 5 gives us the final answer of 32. All right, question number 15. We have a fraction here. As you guys know, grouping, we need to simplify the numerator first and then the denominator secondly. So simplifying the numerator, we have order of operations, Gem does. 5 minus 7 is negative 2 squared. So we still have that 13 plus that negative 2 squared. All right. So next we have exponents, right? Negative 2 squared, that gives us 4. So 13 plus 4 is equal to 17. All right, so that's our numerator. Our denominator, 5 squared minus 3 times 2. As you guys know, Gem does, we do exponents first. So 25 minus 3 times 2, which is 6. 25 minus 6 is equal to 19. So our denominator is 19. All right, question number 16. It says to evaluate. When it says evaluate, that means to just plug in the numbers and then simplify. So y squared minus 8 minus x. Remember, we're going to use parentheses. So put a parentheses around that negative 3, then square it because that's what we still have, minus 8 minus, and then it says minus x. Well, our x is negative 7. Okay, so now we need to do parentheses first, right? That's what just Gem does. That's just Gem does. So 8 minus a negative 7, that's the same thing as saying 8 plus 7. That gives us 15. Right? Then we still bring down everything else. Minus, and then negative 3 squared. All right, next we do exponents. Negative 3 squared, that is positive 9. And then 9 minus 15, well, that's just negative 6. Final answer. All right, same thing with number 17. Evaluate. We're just going to replace these variables with what they give us. That's only because they tell us. They tell us that x is equal to negative 2, so we just plug it in. Negative 10 multiplied by negative 2 plus 4 times negative 2 times 5 plus 2 times x squared, well, negative 2 squared. All right, order of operations. Yes, these are parentheses, but remember that just means multiplication. So technically we do exponents first, right? Exponents, we have negative 2 squared. That gives us 4. All right, so let's just keep it one step at a time. Let's just write the rest of it. 10 times negative 2 plus 4 times negative 2 times 5 plus 2 times 4. All right, next we have multiplication. So we do multiplication from left to right. Negative 10 times negative 2, that gives us positive 20. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 5 gives us negative 40 or minus 40. And then 2 times 4 gives us plus 8 or positive 8 or plus 8. All right, lastly, subtraction and addition, we just go from left to right. 20 minus 40 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 8 gives us negative 12. Final answer. All right, question number 18. Simplify. So simplify, how do we simplify? Remember, we simplify by combining like terms. Just a reminder, combining like terms, we need two things. We need the same letter and the same exponent. So once again, just like I showed you in class, right? Try to underline our terms, and we try to look for our like terms. What are our like terms? Well, this one has the same letter and technically the same exponent of 1. 5x plus 2x gives us 7x. All right, next we want to simplify by having like terms of x squared, negative 3x squared, plus x squared, and then this one as well too. So if we have negative 3 of something, plus, remember this is just 1, plus 2, let's write that out. Negative 3 plus 1 plus 2. Negative 3 plus 1, that gives us negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 gives us 0. So technically that would give us 0x squared, right? We don't need to write that 0 there because 0 times x is just any number. 0 times any number is just going to be 0, so we don't need to write that in our final answer. And then what else do we have? Well, we still have that plus 8, so that needs to be included in our final answer. Plus 8. That's our final answer. 7x plus 8. All right, 19. We want to simplify using the distributive property. So once again, remember distributive property. We're going to distribute that to that. We're going to multiply that to that. And then we're also going to multiply that to that. All right, so negative 3/4 times negative 16x. So we have to multiply negative 3/4 times 16 times negative 16 over 1. I mean, technically I didn't need to write the negatives because negative times a negative is going to be positive. Okay, so here's what we can do. We can simplify this. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 3 times 4 gives us 12. 12, our denominator is going to be 1. So it's just 12, right? But what else do we have? So our final answer is going to be 12x because we multiplied negative 3/4 times negative 16x. So we need that x there. So our final answer is going to have the term of x. All right, next let's try to do the same thing with negative 3/4 times 4. So 3/4 multiplied by 4, right? Technically that's just a 1. And then 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 4 once. So our number is just going to be 3 times 1, which is 3. Our denominator is going to be just 1, so we just keep it as a 3. Okay, now let's think back to our original question. We have negative 3/4 times 4. So it's going to be a negative 3 or minus 3. And we also need to have that y because that's what our original problem has. Negative 3/4 times 4y gives us negative 3y or minus 3y. Next, our last term, we multiply negative 3/4 multiplied by negative 12. Let's just figure out the math there. 3 over 4 multiplied by 12 over 1. We can repeat that same thing. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 4 once. And then 3 times 3 gives us 9. And then same thing, our denominator is going to be 1. So 9 divided by 1, that's just 9. Let's see, and let's go back to original question. So we know that 3 over 4 multiplied by 12 gives us 9. But negative 3 over 4 multiplied by negative 12, well, that still gives us a positive 9. Yeah, so our answer is just our last term is going to be plus 9. There you go. Final answer. So notice how we just took it one step at a time, and then we didn't forget our variables in our final answer and keeping our signs consistent. All right, question number 20, same thing, right? So the biggest mistake I'll see on tests is that students will distribute this, maybe this 5 to each of these. But remember, you only distribute the number that's in front, right? So, well, let's just go to this one right now. So we need to distribute this negative 2 to this 10x squared, right? Same thing as we did the last one, negative 2 to each of these. So on the test, if it helps you guys out, draw those 3 arrows so you guys don't forget. All right, and then we write everything down. Negative 2 times 10x squared, that gives us negative 20x squared. Negative 2 times negative 5x gives us positive 10x, so plus 10x. And then negative 2 times 14 gives us a negative 28 or minus 28. All right, and then we make sure we bring everything else down. We bring down this 5. We bring down this negative x squared. We bring down the plus 11x. All right. Now we just have to combine like terms. We don't have the parentheses, and now it's just a bunch of terms, and we need to combine like terms. So if we look at this 5 and this negative 28, we combine those to be negative 23 or minus 23, negative 23. We look at this negative 20x squared, right? We need the same exponent and letter. So we have x squared. We also have x squared. So this is negative 20 minus 1. If we have negative 20 pizzas and we subtract one more pizza, we're going to have negative 21 pizzas or negative 21x squared. And then lastly, we have our like terms of 10x and 11x. Right? If I have 10 of something and I add 11 of that something, I have 21 of those somethings or 21x. So plus 21x. Final answer. All right, question number 21. We want to simplify. So a lot of students, they see this number 10x and they think, okay, let's distribute each of these. Remember, we only want to distribute the number that's in front. So technically, if it helps you guys out, this is technically a negative 1. Or you can think of just distributing this negative to each of these. I think that's the easier way to think of it. So distribute that negative to each of those. And then you're going to do the same thing with 5, but let's just take it one step at a time. Distributing this negative to the 5y, that gives us negative 5y. Negative 7x, that gives us positive 7x, right? You just flip the signs of each of those. That turns to a negative 10. All right, and then we bring down this 10x. And now we distribute this 5 to each of these. So 5 multiplied by negative 3x, that gives us negative 15x. 5 multiplied by 9y gives us positive or plus 45y. All right. And now we don't have any parentheses. Now it's just a matter of combining like terms. So like terms with 10x, let's see, we have 7x and then 15x as well too. So if we have 10 plus 7, that's 17. 17 minus 15, that gives us 2x. All right, next we have these y's, negative 5y and positive 45y, or plus 45y. Negative 5 plus 45 gives us 40, so plus 40y. And then lastly, we just have this negative 10, so minus 10. Final answer. All right, our last page. We see parentheses. We know that we have to distribute that 3 to each of those. So let's do that, then that, and then that. All right, let's see. So 3 multiplied by m squared, that's literally 3m squared. 3 multiplied by negative 2n gives us minus 6n. 3 multiplied by 8n squared, that gives us 24n squared. All right, and then I'm going to bring everything else down. We have negative 4m squared plus 6 plus 3m squared, and then we bring down everything else after this, plus 10n minus 12 plus n squared. All right, now it looks really complicated. We're just going to start simplifying this by looking for our like terms. So we have negative 4m squared. We need it to have the same variable and the same exponent. So is there any other m squareds that we have? Yeah, it's right here. So if we have negative 4 of something and we add 3 of that something, that gives us negative 1m squared, or just negative m squared minus m squared. Okay, if we look for our like terms of 6, just numbers, we have 6 minus 12. 6 minus 12 gives us negative 6, or minus 6. Next, we have negative 6n, and then positive 10n, or plus 10n. That gives us plus 4n. And then let's see, 24n squared and n squared, that gives us plus 25n squared. Final answer. So notice how this looks like complicated at first, but then we just took it one step at a time, underlining each of those terms. That gives us positive negative m squared minus 6 plus 4n plus 25n squared. All right, use the rectangle to find the perimeter. So we did one of these problems during warm-up. So try to look at your guys' notes if you guys forgot how to do this. Similar problem. But anyways, so we look, we know that these two side lengths are going to be the same. So this is literally going to be 8 minus 2x squared plus 12x. This is also going to be x squared minus 2 plus 11x. All right, so if we add all these together now, let's see. Let's try to make it simple for ourselves. 8 plus 8, that gives us 16. Negative 2x squared plus a negative 2x squared, that gives us minus 4x squared. And then 12x plus 12x, that gives us plus 24x. All right, and then x squared plus x squared, that gives us plus 2x squared. Negative 2 minus 2, that gives us negative 4. And then 11x plus 11x gives us 22x, or plus 22x. All right, so now we added all 4 of these all up together, and now it's just a matter of combining like terms. So 16 minus 4, that gives us 12. Negative 4x squared. What's our other like term? 2x squared. That gives us minus 2x squared. And then 24x plus 22x. That gives us 36x. Sorry, that's just bad math. 46, I meant. 46. 46x. Final answer. 12 minus 2x squared plus 46x. All right, question number 4. Sean solved a math problem on his homework. He showed you his work so you could check it. Read the question below and look at his work carefully. If he is correct, write that he is correct. However, if he made a mistake, circle the mistake and explain what he did wrong and show him the correct work. All right, simplify. So simplify, we do order of operations, we do GEMDAS first. Grouping, right? Grouping. 4 plus 5 looks correct. 9 squared, and did he bring everything else down? Yep. Nice. Next, we do exponents. So did he do 9 squared? Yeah, that gives us 81. And did he bring everything else down? Awesome. Next, we do division. So we should do 4 divided by 2. Where is that in our work? So it has to be around here where he did the mistake, right? So 81 minus 4, he got 77. I mean, that's correct if you subtract it, but we shouldn't do subtraction before division, right? That's just order of operations. So we go back to this, and let's correct his work. 81 minus 4 divided by 2, that gives us 2, and then plus 8. 81 minus 2 is 79 plus 8. That gives us 87. All right, so we got the correct answer. Now we need to explain what he did wrong. So what's his name? Sean. Sean didn't follow order of operations. He should have divided before he subtracted. Yeah, and that's all you would have to write on the test if this problem appeared on the test. All right, thank you guys for watching this. If you guys don't understand some of the steps in more detail, please watch some of the YouTube videos that I have underneath the modules. All right, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you.